You groaned. You were back in the tiny room that you had slept in last night, playing a few games on your phone. However, it was getting annoying, seeing as how your phone kept blowing up with messages from your family, as well as Hikari and Rin. You kept swiping up because the notification was getting in your way, and you couldn't see the screen. Eventually, you gave up and shut your phone off. Katsuki hadn't called you since last night, but he had sent you a bunch of texts, which you would have preferred not to read, but you just couldn't help yourself, being the masochist guy you were. Hey, Ryan? Todoroki hadn't stopped calling you that since last night, and you appreciated it. Yeah, Shoto? Within the short amount of time, you too had gotten accustomed to calling him by his first name, and his siblings by theirs. When you took the time to hear Fuyumi talk about her littlest brother, it gave you a silent joy that you were the first of Shoto's friends to have ever met his family. You know you shouldn't be happy about that, but this was another thing you wanted to keep to yourself, at least momentarily. I think we should get you home. Your parents are probably worried about you. You really didn't feel like moving, let alone going home, but since Shoto was the one asking, you had no other choice. What can you say? You're a simp, even if he didn't know it. Yeah, alright. You stood up as Shoto walked into the room, sliding the traditional Japanese door shut. You watched him move across the room toward where your blankets and bedroll were neatly folded. He picked them up and followed you out of the room. He walked down the hall, motioning for you to follow. This is my room. No one is allowed in here, he said. Oh, okay. You nervously laughed, stopping by the door. He watched you with a little amusement playing in his eyes, although he probably didn't know what that even was. Not you. You can come in. You nodded, gulped, then stepped into Shoto's lair. Wait, your mouth dropped. You didn't give me your bedroll, did you? He chuckled slightly. No, I just keep the extras in my room because there's no room in the hall closet. You nodded. Oh, okay. You said that twice now. Said what? Oh, okay. Oh. Your mouth made somewhat of a pout as you circled Shoto's room. You were in Todoroki Shoto's room. Never in your wildest imaginations, never in some of your wildest imaginations, had you ever been in Shoto's room. You looked around. The walls were really plain. There were no pictures or posters on the walls. All he had was his bedroll, a blanket, pillow, a desk chair, and a desk, where his school bag was fixed neatly on top. There was a dresser next to his bedroll. It was small and only carried a lamp and a picture frame. Wait, no. It had 2 picture frames. You admired the first one. It was one of his mother. She was beautiful. You could definitely see who Shoto got most of his genes from. My mother, he said, and it was all you could do to stop yourself from falling over. Not only was he close enough where his breath felt hot on your skin, but also, how the hell did he get behind you so fast and without your knowledge? Okay, calm down. You cleared your throat. She's really beautiful. He sighed. Yeah, I know, right? You turned to the side, catching Shoto's smile in the lamp-lit room. It was unlike anything you had ever seen. It was gorgeous, just like his mother. He must think incredibly fond of her for him to smile like this, you thought, admiring his admiration. Suddenly he opened his eyes, and the emotion in them changed. It was no longer fondness, but something very similar to it. You looked away, unable to hold his gaze. Your eyes flickered over to the second picture frame. The photo was of Shoto and you, yourself. Your mouth fell agape, also unable to speak. Shoto walked around you and grabbed the picture off his dresser. This takes me back, he said, sounding reminiscent again. Does it? You couldn't help yourself. You smiled, a big thing that fitted across your face, from your chin to your eyes. You didn't know if the blush in your cheeks were visible, but that didn't matter. You wanted to know how he felt about it, about you, and it might be selfish to want this, but for once in your life, you had someone to be selfish for. Yeah, he answered quietly, and for a few seconds, he didn't say anything else. But then he placed the photo back on the dresser and grabbed you by the shoulders. His eyes looked intense, a little scared, even. Fiyumi said I should act on my thoughts instead of saying them, he started, because that way it will get across more clearly. He was certainly right about that, but what he was doing and saying now had you confused more than ever. I'm going to do something, and if you hate me for it, I'm sorry. You gulped as he let you go. Was he going to say you couldn't be friends anymore, or that he didn't want you to come around his family again? Did you make it that bad of an impression? Maybe he was going to ask you to keep this a secret and never talk about it again. Maybe he was going to confess he really didn't like your brother, and what he did at this Sᴘᴘᴏ was unacceptable, and he had never been treated that way in his life, subtracting his dad, of course. He launched himself at you, and you tumbled to the floor, nearly missing his desk. His eyes burned with the intensity to freeze lava in its place, but instead, he leaned in, lips pressed against yours in such a needy way. Your mind went blank. You couldn't even see right now. All you could think about was lips on lips, running your hands through Todoroki Shoto's hair, that beautiful, dual-colored, icy hot hair. You both rolled on the floor, and somewhere in the mind, even if I wanted to, I'd probably suffocate before I could tell him to stop. It was shitty, but it made you laugh. It made you laugh so hard you had to stop kissing Shoto for it. He backed off, but the air around you did not subside. He was merely waiting to attack again. You rubbed and opened your eyes. His hair was a mess, and his lips were red and bruised, and his chest was heaving up and down. I thought you wanted to take me home. I do, he said, nodding his head. You tilted your head. Now? He bit his lip, and damn it, you were going to have a heart attack. Did you not like it? You threw yourself on him, his chest catching you. I left it. Please do it again sometime. His smile came back, and it was the most innocent thing you had ever seen since one of the kitten videos. You held back a squeal, but your heart kept pumping. I can hear your heart. He breathed. A sense of deja vu came over you, but you pushed it back down, intent on keeping this moment to yourself and yourself alone. Sure, I can do that. He wrapped his arms around you and pulled you close, snuggling his head in the crook of your neck. You leaned into him and hugged him back. Does this mean you don't want to be friends anymore? You asked casually. Shoto's eyes snapped open, and he gave you a concerned, panicked look. You laughed. Even though he looked so serious and scared, he still had that cute softness to him. You rubbed your face into his chest. Do you want to be my boyfriend instead? He relaxed his muscles and lifted your face up. Good thing your neck was flexible, otherwise it would have hurt when he kissed you again. You sat in his lap, your back and head resting against his chest. So, when do you plan on taking me home? In a little, he mumbled. I'm fine with that. You purred, letting your eyes drift in and out of sleep.